All right. It is Saturday, 27 September 2025. That's right. We're getting ready to start up for the Cafe Enigma Roundtable Radio. No, Roundtable Radio Show. Cafe Enigma Radio Show. I don't get this right yet. There we go. Get everything up and rolling. It's taking me a minute. Losing my mind. Hello and welcome wherever you are, whatever platform you're listening to. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Hope you're all ready for tonight because I sure am getting all ready to go and getting everything set up for Cafe Enigma. We're going to talk about past life regression and past lives tonight on the stream. So hope everybody's up, ready, and got their food, their drink. I'll be bringing up the folks here in just a few minutes. Still checking out all the bells and whistles to make sure that we are good to go on all the platforms. Looking good here. So far, so good. Hope everybody had a wonderful week last week and you're getting ready or having an awesome weekend. I appreciate each and every one of you that joined the stream and listened to us. Thank you very, very much from the very bottom of my heart and my host's heart as well. Having some issues with a couple of the platforms, but we're gonna work it out. We will have it all worked out in just a few minutes, and then I will bring the folks in. There we go. Everything's looking so much better now. Roger Hansen will be at the helm tonight, leading the crew of the Cafe Enigma. And if you missed it, it is 27 September 2025. Pinning us up, getting us going. You know how it is, because if you're out here, you're probably already a streamer to begin with anyways. Let me go ahead and get the folks. Yeah, let me get the crew going, and we'll set up our pre-show and get everything going. Waiting for the others to join. Roger, Mark. Nancy. David. Sonia.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Can you hear me? Hello. Give me a second.
Okay.
It's taking a second. It's taking a second for the team's call to pop up. Can
Don't
you hear
worry.
me?
Everything here is taking a second or two to get going too. Took me a little bit to get the streams connected up tonight. I don't know why, but it sure did that.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's
the
just
good-
slow all over, but it is what
Good
it
news-
is. We're
The
gonna
good
work.
news is Vicky is here.
She
Hello.
is. Hi, Vicky.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm doing
Vicky.
pretty good. Let me get all our stuff together because I still have our intro banner going up right now on OBS.
Now,
Let
Vicky,
me,
this is your moment of triumph. Okay, this is where you get to lash out at us heathens because this is the good stuff.
how's that?
Well,
I mean,
I was only going to say that another school of thought is blah, 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 and then
Yeah.
just
well,
putting it out there, and then you get to go because
No, you go.
my dog doesn't have anything in that fight. I mean, once I say my little
dude,
thing.
you're gonna love this. I'm gonna tell you right now. You're gonna love it.
I'm trying to get Phil in here with us, and I sent Phil the and Sonia. Where'd Nancy go? I know she's up, and David's not here either yet.
Dave, or not Dave, but Nancy
Champion.
was in chat. She said she's definitely gonna be here.
Okay.
So that's
Clash of the Titans, right? The Hulk and the. When
Man,
you said
it's not letting Phil in for some reason.
crossing the streams, I thought of Ghostbusters.
Maybe. But, oh well.
yeah, let me see if I can. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
It's doing it. It's doing it to me too. So
All right. Let me tell Phil to join the link.
did the same thing with Nancy too.
Yeah, where's Nance? Let me try shooting her the
Sonia.
Sonia here.
the link.
Yeah.
There she is.
Who?
Really?
Nancy? Is she in now?
And Sonia is.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Sonia.
Sonia.
Hey, Vicky.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Doing good. Making cupcakes with my daughter.
Got some
Right.
cupcakes.
GMO. Yeah. I'm not a fan. She likes that stuff though, I guess.
Do you like sweets?
She likes poisoning herself with GMOs, basically.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah, Betty Crocker, you
Boy.
know.
Well, back
See
in the
what-
day, I think what they used to have for Betty Crocker is probably healthier than what they have now.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm absolutely
definitely.
sure of that. But you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
Give Phil another try.
I don't have the link to send it out again. So here's Jason. Let me get Jason in here too, because Jason told me earlier he was coming in. He was interested
Yeah.
in this. Man, it keeps bouncing Phil right out.
There he is. I wonder
Hey,
if
MC.
maybe.
Hey, what's happening?
I wonder if
Hey,
maybe for them to actually freaking come in, they have to be in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Invite them into the
Yeah,
room.
but
and
I did
then
invite
we
Phil
should
in the room already, so.
Yeah,
And I did
I've
give
seen
him
that
the
earlier.
link.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Okay.
Come on, Phil. Yeah.
He'll be here.
I
He'll
just hope,
be
I
here.
just hope tonight's going to be less stressful than today. I've just been doing nothing but politics all day.
I'm so sick of
We're
it.
just politics, and it's just been
Yuck.
Just yuck. That's the way. That's the way. I'm gonna put the link in the actual chat and see if anybody freaking clicks on it.
Any word from Mr. Robot?
Mr. Robot is freaking dude. I'm gonna tell you why he is. He is going to regret his hatred for Microsoft so much, dude.
Well, I think you're one there. You've got to register with team before you can actually join the meeting. You mentioned. Oh no, it's Tan that mentioned that you can join teams without having to sign in, but I don't think that's true.
Okay, so Karma might be coming in.
Karma?
Karma love, buddy.
Karma.
Karma love.
Not heard from her for a while.
Oh yeah. She there we go. She's in.
Who?
Woohoo!
Karma love.
Okay.
You have not met freaking anybody out of my crew
Yeah.
until you met Karma, dude.
I've met Karma.
Karma is. Oh, you have.
Yep, I was on her show. Remember?
Hey guys.
Any relation to Karma Chameleon?
No.
How does a Muslim close the door?
Oh no.
Oh, no.
How does a Muslim close the door?
No.
How does a Muslim close the door?
No.
Oh,
we're not gonna
no.
buy that right now.
How does a Muslim close the door? How does a Muslim close the door?
I got a good one. I got one even worse.
Yeah.
How do German kids tie their shoes? In little Nazis.
Oh,
Oh,
that's good.
Oh my goodness.
That's bad,
Oh,
right? That's all right.
boy.
Terrible.
Oh.
I specialize in really bad jokes. I try to anyway.
long day.
Mark, you got any good dad jokes?
No, I'm not gonna do those tonight.
Please do those tonight.
Right to my throat.
Okay.
Deja vu jokes, right?
Oh, she's okay. Here,
Carnation.
she Nancy said she is, or to call again. She was looking for her headset.
Oh, okay then. All right. Let me go ahead and try to give her a call.
Now, Karma said she's willing to come out in too. So
That's a good topic for her, right?
oh, she believed in the one the last time I talked to her. So I don't know exactly how that is going now, but she
what?
the one. It's a whole different realm. Well,
Hey, Nancy.
Nice.
Mr.
Sonia.
Robot used to talk about it all the time too.
Hey, Nancy.
Yeah, I think you reminds me. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe in the, or I don't believe in it, but I would go with the Pythagorean version of the one. You know what I mean? But these guys,
Pythagorean.
Pythagorean.
It's almost like esophageal, but different.
Wow.
Oh, say that again, dude. I love it when you say.
Esophageal.
I love it.
Oh, baby.
Dude, there ain't nothing better than when Vicky says esophageal.
Oh God,
Esophageal.
I heard the worst word the other day. Dildonics.
Dildonics.
Yeah, dildonics. Not just by itself though. It was digital dildonics. This will be AI, future robot sex or something. The future of digital dildonics.
Oh my
They could have
god.
gotten a little more creative.
Mankind is, humanity is going to end sooner or later. This is the end of humanity.
That's something else.
Oh, by the way, I'm posting over in the vault. You know, we talked about Michio Kaku the other day.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he just came out with an interview. So it's on Facebook, so I can't rip the video, but I'm going to post the Facebook link. And he's talking about basically his opinion of the objects, the disclosure by the U.S. government of the TikToks and all that good stuff. So very interesting, I thought. Told you he got...
Is that TikTok
Did you
or
hear the
TikTok?
news today? Trump is demanding TikTok to be a U.S. company.
Well, no, actually, it's really kind of upsetting because the company looking to buy TikTok, which he's demanding that for national security reasons, because China obviously it's so no, it's not even Raytheon. It's actually a Jewish-owned company.
Oh, no.
And it's causing a lot of problems with the patriot community because they're like, well, hold on a minute, Sunshine.
Yeah.
Are we gonna censor the crap out of TikTok to where only certain things can be said? So it's interesting. It's getting interesting. Put it that way.
Oh yeah, it's definitely that they're starting to come down real hard on TikTok. From what I've been hearing, they tried to ban it from Romania because of the far right.
Yes.
And that was weird when I heard that. I was like, seriously, everybody else is talking about other stuff when it comes to TikTok, and they're doing it to censor the far right from.
You know what I find interesting? You know who was banned from Romania? This is very interesting, and this is kind of a corkscrew in the whole story, but Erica Kirk was banned from Romania in like 2010, 2011. And it had to do with an organization she was backing that was trafficking children. So I thought that was really interesting.
I just wanted to go back to TikTok real quick. Hold on, I'm having a brain fart now. That a lot of people found out about the horrors in Palestine through TikTok. I mean, they just weren't censoring as much as all the other platforms were. So that was a big reason they wanted to kind of shut them down and buy them to shut them down.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that. And I find it interesting because I think it's going to backfire. I really do, because again, TikTok is it's probably the last bastion of uncensored speech. Although I have to say it can go either way, and I've always noted that uncensored speech can be a great thing, but we do have a lot of kids that are making really, really pissy bad decisions based off things.
There's something a lot less known than TikTok, but it's called 153news.net. Yep. It's ran by you're familiar, right? That's
Yep.
like that's what they actually call it. That's its logo. The Last Bastion of Freedom by Jason Boss started this thing about 8 years ago or so, and I think that they are just excellent. I mean, some of the things I would see so censored, I found on there. That's where I got my MP4 of the Christ Church, what was on the camera that was on the guy's head, the GoPro video. It's about 16 and a half minutes long. But the point is, at least it's up there. It's pretty good
It's
archive.
really hard. I was going to say it's really hard because, I mean, especially now because the archives are getting raided, and
Yeah, they've
there's
been
no
raided.
two ways about it.
How
And
many
they're
times?
deleting. I mean, they're deleting quite a bit, and it's
Yeah, they're
funny
rated
because-
like once, twice a day.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I do love the way the Anons work, because Anons don't just download files, they cold storage them. Because they know that 90% of the time, what they're looking for is going to disappear. So they take them out and it's kind of like Frazzle Drip. Everybody was saying, oh, Frazzle Drip, that was just a bullshit, this, it never really existed. Yeah, it did. The problem is that you couldn't admit to downloading it, ripping it, cold storing it because it was so ridiculously illegal to even have viewed it. You've committed a crime. Even if you innocently stumble into it, you have committed a crime by viewing it. So,
Within the US.
it's incredibly violent, disgusting.
In
It
New
involves
Zealand,
children.
you'll get 20 years if you give somebody a copy of it, and you get 5 years just for like showing it to them, like pointing your phone, like, "Oh, I got a copy of that. Would you like to see it?" 5 years maximum for that. 20 years maximum for giving somebody a digital copy.
I don't understand it though, because these are the same countries that have allowed themselves an influx of a culture that believes in having sex with young girls as soon as they menstruate. So it's like, how does that work? Because, I mean, that's their culture. And I'm not going to judge them on that. That is how they have lived for thousands of years, and it's their culture. It's, however, not our culture. And we take it really offensively if you try to have sex with an 11 or 12
Oh, there he is. We got first, last.
It's one of the reasons I have problems with the uncontrolled immigration.
Well, yeah, I
Because-
was going to say, I've been watching Keir Starmer's speeches all evening and don't talk about culture, because culture, there will not be a country national culture, it will be global culture, according to these freaks.
Well, that's kind of what I was, when you and I were talking in the chat earlier. That's my biggest concern for your country. I mean, I feel horrible for the English people right now because they didn't see it coming. They saw it, but they thought, no, this could never continue. We'll vote them out. And what they're not realizing is that all their voting is rigged. No matter what you do, you're going to end up with the same shit, different day scenario.
Not necessarily. Remember, we've got new emerging parties such as
That's true.
Reform and stuff.
That's true, but I mean, I know they tried that here too. And what happened was, the politicians would just take on a different mask and say, "Oh, well, we're anti this," and get elected, and it turns out they're exactly the same as everybody else.
Or they will just say, the politicians, like in Germany, will say they are far right, therefore they cannot be electable, such as AfD in Germany.
I don't understand how.
Okay,
I mean, I know we
so
did it too, but I just don't get it, dude.
let's do a quick sound check. First, last, you want to see if your audio's working good? He's there, but I don't.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
there
hear you
go.
now.
Okay, good. Now I'm
I
still
love that.
I'm still trying to get Karma in. She's having difficulties with it, but we got first, last in, and I wanted to kind of go over a little bit for you so that you know how things are. When we start out, I'll do an introduction. I'll give it an introduction on what the episode's going to be about, introduce everybody on the panel, and after that we go into a 22-minute video that Mark Watashik, our producer, is going to do for the radio show. Now, while he's doing that, we're not going to be able to hear it. It's just for the radio, and we'll be doing what I call brainstorming, and that'll be going over what's actually in the video of In Search Of, as well as going further with a lot of the stuff. So that'll be that for the 22 minutes, and then when the radio show comes back on, that's when we'll actually get into the topic, and we'll go over some of the stuff that we've been brainstorming over. And that'll be all the way up until the first break at 55 minutes. Right, Mark?
Right on.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep.
I did get a chance to.
And then, and then the
me
break
and you-
after that, it's at the 25-minute mark.
Right.
And we
yeah,
take
when-
it out at
when
the
me
5
and you
till.
were talking earlier, I did get a chance to actually watch that video.
What'd you think of it?
Like I said, a bit.
A little bit too hardcore.
Pseudo science was
You
the word I
you
used.
just got upset because they were talking about your king like they were. Like
Yeah,
that-
one
that
of 'em.
Reddit.
One
Yeah,
of-
one of them.
One of them. Yeah.
He's just an English dude. He's like, I don't like that. I don't
Welcome
like them,
everybody
that
in the
woman.
chats. Appreciate y'all
It's
coming
super
in.
fun.
We're gonna get the show started up here pretty soon.
We know how it is.
This is the pre-show
got
where
your-
we get together and kind of iron things out before we get going. Appreciate each and every one of you that's joined us tonight. Mayan Cal, Adam Bombs, Great Conspiracy, Hazard, FTW, in the Kick Chat. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I gotta still figure out your language on that, because you say a bunch of weird stuff in that chat that I do not understand.
Like what chat?
In kick.
Oh,
Mhm.
like
It
what?
is so weird. You say you and me spells awesome or something like that.
No, you are awesome, and that means you.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
because you're not
gonna-
reading it. You probably look at it too quick, and then or it flashes too fast.
Well, it's because you keep making me push that IP thing, and I really don't like
You
it,
don't have to push that.
because it seems like I'm telling everybody that I'm peeing, and
No,
it
that's not.
IP.
P is your personals. When you take and do that, like exclamation point P is.
Oh,
so
it's an
that-
exclamation point. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought it was an I. You
No.
know, me getting old, my eyesight getting bad and stuff. So
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's an exclamation point, and if you do the Q, it means hey, come check and see what we're doing, and if you have questions for the moderator or the panel, put them in chat, and then I'll get them to you guys. Let me get the radio side up and running.
And also another thing, at first, even though we're not on the radio, we still will be streaming on all platforms. So,
Yeah.
after it's edited out, I will have behind the scenes, which has the parts that aren't on the radio show.
The what?
So the parts that we have that are in between, like this right here, and then the commercial breaks.
Oh, you just go
I
to
have
the
that.
Raw. People just can go to the Raw and listen to that there.
I've got it. I've got behind the scenes, baby. I got it
Oh,
all
you're just gonna-
set up.
Oh, why don't you, when you're in the Kick Chat, click and do those. What do they call clips? Yeah, clips. Yeah,
You can do that.
and then you can save some of that because you can save up to like a minute, maybe 2 on a clip. But
Yeah, but it's bad enough that you making me read and stuff.
you don't have to. Oh my God,
And
Roger!
then tell time. And then
Roger!
tell time.
Make a short.
Roger,
Huh.
we're gonna get ready to hang up here in a minute. All right, so I'm
Okay.
like, reel it in, buddy. Nancy, I did try to reach out to Phil. I did put the link in there. He did want to come in. I don't know. I don't see him. Can you shoot him a line and say, if you
I
want to
can.
come in,
I think
if you want to
Ralphie-
come in tonight with us, this would probably be a good one for him to come into, if he's not DK'd. But anyways, yeah.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, we'll just say
think
it like that.
Ralphie's
All
gonna
right.
try to-
All right.
I was gonna say I think Ralphie's gonna try to jump in also at some point. I just not
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know what's going. I'll try to bring you guys in again when I hang up, and then well, I have to bring everybody back again when I hang up. So if
Oh.
if I do that, if I hang up now, that'll give us. You'll have up to the 55-minute mark, and then we'll have maybe a minute or 2 to transition into the next one. So that'll be good. All right. So I'm hanging up right now. You guys watch for the next call. All right. Cafe Enigma, where the strange come alive. Tune into the unknown. Feel the thrill and the vibe. Feel the fault of the ether. Well, did everybody hang up? Because I don't want anybody to take and, shorten our time. Mark, did you hang up before? Okay, here we go. Let me try to do this again. Get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yes.
6.
Right. The window capture set
Zach,
up and go.
Karma, Sonia, Phil, Vicky, Jason, Jahan. Try Phil again. Nope. Boom. Right out. And
Wow.
Karma is right out the door too. Every time I tried to bring her in.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, yeah.
Now, first told me that he found out that whenever he was doing his, he had a problem, or he had to go ahead and just click on video
Yep.
or audio instead of doing the meet me thing.
Well, either way, we got a couple seconds before we get everything else going. I need to reposition Teams and OBS so that
Mm-hmm.
so that we there we go.
There he is.
Who?
First.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna still try to get Phil, and it'd be cool to get him in if he can show
Yeah,
up.
I think Phil would be great for this show, and if we can get him in.
Oh, this is gonna be insane because like we've got Nancy here and we got Vicky here, and you want to talk about crazy stuff, and then First is here, and he just freaking he called me out when I made the post, so he
All right, you got 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna
So, this is gonna be excellent.
get
is
you
all
on the
I'm
radio
saying.
side, and
And then I don't even know what Jason's gonna do. MC dirty work. He's just a dirty dog. He's a
Look out,
dirty
cats,
dog.
dogs, kids, curtain climbers, and crumb beggars. Here is your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're live and on the radio side for the first time tonight. Roger, right now.
Welcome to Cafe Enigma, where mysteries linger at the edge of science and imagination. Tonight we explore reincarnation and regressive therapy. The idea that consciousness survives death and returns again. From ancient traditions to modern hypnotic sessions, these stories suggest our memories may stretch beyond the span of a single lifetime. But as we dive deeper, we'll also explore how these patterns connect to the brain's hidden architecture, where mossy fibers bring order and rhythm, and climbing fibers guide transformation and ascent. Could reincarnation be more than myth? Could it be a reflection of universal laws that shape consciousness and even the cosmos itself? I'm Roger Hansen. Tonight I'll be your host, and joining us tonight is my co-host, Sonia Galactek, spelled T-E-C at the end instead of T-I-C. And with her is our esteemed panel. Since he is the first one, or the new one to the group, I'd like to introduce first last. If you want to give your real name, you can first. It's up to you.
Well, tonight we'll just stay with first. Last will be fine.
Okay.
And yeah, I appreciate being here. I have had some experience and personal revelations, but I wouldn't mind sharing that to you. It's a 3-part thing, but we can get there.
Okay. So after that, we have Jason Quigley, aka MC Dirty Work, and we also have Arpad Bass, aka Vicky Bass.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Then we also have Nancy Planeta and
Good
Mark
evening.
Edworthy. And besides them, there's our producer, Mark Watashik. And I always say his name because I enjoy saying his last name. I love it now. So with that being said, we are going to we're going to get on with the questions. Tonight, we'll be exploring these key questions. And one is, are past life memories real or constructed? 2, how might the brain serve as a conduit for such experiences? And 3, what does these cycles suggest about the larger architecture of growth, ascent, and consciousness? So with that being said, let's listen to this clip from In Search of Past Life, Season 4, Episode 24, hosted by Leonard Nimoy. Before we go on to this discussion.
I already started the clip when you said that. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Now, this is where we get into the brainstorming because, as you guys can tell, you don't hear the brainstorming. Now, to occupy the 22 minutes and to give you guys an idea of what the video is about and what the topic is going to be about, we'll be brainstorming. That's where we'll come up. I'll throw some stuff out to you guys, and if you feel like talking about it, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well,
Now, tonight
I
we can do that and get it going and see how you guys want to talk about with it. So we do have quite a few people here, so whenever we do this, all I ask is that you be respectful to one another, don't crosstalk, which means allow the person to finish their conversation before you start, stuff like that. Just be courteous to yourself, and remember that the people who are watching and listening, it's hard for them to understand what's being said whenever people are cross talking. So just keep that in mind. You know what I mean? So the first thing I want to talk about is cultural universality of reincarnation. Okay, why the idea persists across time and place. Reincarnation is one of those rare ideas that refuse to stay confined to one culture or era or belief system. It arises independently across civilizations from ancient India to Greece, and from tribal shamans to modern New Age circles. Now, that persistence suggests it isn't just religious teachings, it's a human intuition about the nature of existence. Human beings struggle with the finality of death, is the way I usually see it. The idea of reincarnation answers like a deep-seated need that identity and consciousness don't just vanish, but continues in another form. So, with that, I want to start it off with that. See what you guys think about that when it comes to the history of reincarnation and how it just persists on and on all throughout history. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I believe the earliest culture that we know of that spoke of reincarnation were the Indians, and it was the Vedic texts. It goes back thousands of years. I've always kind of thought that given the location of India when it came to the Silk Road, trade, it was actually pivotal in a lot of those things. So a lot of cultures would have traversed those areas, whether it was through trade, whether it was through travel. It was a well-traveled zone. So I can see where that would actually lead on. But in the same respect, I am a believer that like the inscribers of the Vedic texts, I believe ancient cultures were a lot more intelligent than we will ever give them credit for. I think they were incredibly advanced in a lot of ways, not just technically, but when it came to anatomy and physiology. I think they knew a lot more than we've ever been allowed to, I guess you could say, explore. And I say that because we found evidence. We found evidence in Egypt. Obviously, they knew how to take a body and basically make it last thousands of years. Those techniques, that's not something a caveman does. Machu Picchu, we showed evidence of brain surgery being performed. I mean, so they had a vast knowledge that I'm going to take that wild jump and say it was purposefully destroyed, probably by the church, because again, you can't control something that's more intelligent than you are. And that was always the mantra of the church, basically keep the serfs and keep the royalty and don't spread the knowledge. It's why we had the Vatican vaults. And I always say that the Vatican vaults contain probably more knowledge than we could ever probably hope to even encompass. And a lot of that type of knowledge is in those vaults, ancient knowledge, because literally that's what the Jesuits did. They went out around the world and they gathered as much as they possibly could, and what they didn't want to burn, they locked up. So, yeah, I know it started, like I said, I know reincarnation, the actual thought process of it started with the Vedic texts. And I also wonder, too, because the Indian culture and actually that whole Far Eastern culture, they were very much into transcending consciousness, meditation, things like that. Those were their forms of connecting, not just to nature and their surroundings, but to their gods. So you can kind of, I guess you could say, they may have had a sense of the fact that your consciousness is separate from your body, And I know a lot of people scoff when I say that, but there is some science to it. We do have an electric current that runs through our body physically. And by definition, energy can either be created or destroyed. It can only conduct or change. End of sentence. So when we die, the energy that basically powers our body, our heart, our blood, it has to go somewhere.
Right.
It can go to the ground, it can go to the air, but it has to go somewhere. This is but a shell. It's funny because I think all religions kind of got that right. It's your temple, it's your this, it's your that, whatever. It's temporary. And I truly believe that your consciousness is probably embedded in that energy. But that being said, you also have, as we know now, epigenetics, which is cellular memory. And I've always wondered too, did they get it confused when, somebody's born generations later and has the memories of somebody from generations earlier? Did they confuse that for maybe the second coming of that person or a reincarnation when it was truly just a very strong showing of cellular memory? And, we should have, again, before they even came up with epigenetics, we should have known there was something to that when we were doing transplants and people were getting cravings and having memories of the donor. So, right there, they should have known there was something cellular going on. And as we found out later, of course, it's that the cell is imprinted with memory. So when somebody would get a donor organ, that sometimes it was olfactory, they would smell something or smell of something that would give them a memory that wasn't theirs. It was from the donor. But that's a science. It's not, as I like to say, the mystical, the oogie boogie. There's actually a science to that. So I'm on the fence because I'm like, it could be scientific. It could be straight up cellular memory that just keeps coming back over and over again. But I also am of the mind that, again, energy can neither be created nor destroyed if it's intelligent energy. And I'm thinking they have figured that out because, again, we're talking about current technology companies talking about giving blueprints for soul machines, ways to transcend your intelligence into a computer. That would allude to the fact that your intelligence is connected to an energy source of some kind to be imprinted. In other words, it could be conducted. So, yeah, I'm going to let somebody else talk because I've talked for too long.
Nancy, just on that point, the so-called soul machines, I always thought of them, of the concept as a sort of photocopier, a duplicate rather than a
it depends on
translation.
Yeah, it depends on which blueprints you're looking at. Because I got to tell you, man, if you go into the patents, there's like a million different patents for different types of soul machines. Some of them, they're just wacko. You're reading it going, yeah, no, what? Who wrote that? But some of them have some real intellectual thought and science behind them. And it's actually kind of scary because if they're capable of uploading, mimicking, mirroring what you are at your very core, if they're capable of doing that and loading it into a computer, they can trap you forever. I mean, it's funny because I always say religions have been built for thousands of years on fear. Religions and governments have been built on fear. And the Roman Empire, I always say this, when the Roman Empire figured out that the mortal life of a human or a slave no longer meant enough to them to scare them into obedience, they decided to make the immortal life the thing to be afraid to lose. So thus Christianity was an easy segue for the Roman Empire. And if you actually look up the history, the Senate of Rome didn't go anywhere. They literally amalgamated into the Vatican. The royal bloodlines of the Senate are literally running through the Vatican, which it's kind of crazy, but I thought, what a genius move on the Roman Empire's part. They lost the empire per se, and they created a larger one through religion. And they kept people in line with fear of basically a damned eternity. That is a greater fear to humans than a damned life, because there's no coming back from a damned eternity.
So
See-
again, yeah,
The thing with this too is it's like human beings, like I said, struggle with the finality of death too. You know what I mean? The idea of reincarnation, it answers a lot of deep-seated need. That identity and consciousness don't just vanish. Okay, they continue in another form. Now, cultures may frame it different, but the core intuition, and I mean intuition when I say that, that's the same. The self is not annihilated; it's just transformed according to them. And if you go in and you look at Carl Jung's concept of archetypes, it helps explain why reincarnation reoccurs in cultural myth. You know, because what he always talks about is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and how it mirrors natural cycles like the seasons, day and night, decay, and regrowth. So that right there is something that really is something that really sticks out, because humanity projects these types of rhythms into the soul. And that's through the archetypes of like eternal return and life renewing itself, and it's fundamental, and it's also natural. It naturally arises wherever humans are seeking meaning. You know what I mean? For Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, they have detailed doctrines of karma and rebirth. And that's to define entire cosmologies. Then you have ancient Greek.
doesn't
And
near-death experience though. This is the problem.
well, see, you have philosophers like Pythagoras and Plato who spoke of transmigration of souls.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then you have, like you were talking about, the indigenous traditions, okay? And from the Inuit all the way to the Hopi, many tribes used to tell stories of spirits returning through children.
Yes.
And then
Well,
after,
right.
what about Gnosticism, Kabbalah, and spiritualism?
That's what I'm saying, though. It's more to that, though, Roger. Even in so currently, in current times, how many hundreds? I mean, actually, how many thousands of experiences have you read of NDE, near-death experience, where the body dies and the body is dead for X amount of time, and yet the person has clear memory of people 5 rooms away from them because their spirit, according to them, went there. They listened to entire conversations, were able to reiterate the entire conversations. They were able to reiterate conversations between physicians. I mean, that's the type of thing where I'm like, I have to hit pause and say, there's no explaining that. There's no rational way you can sit here and tell me, well, maybe there was a hidden microphone behind the dead person's ear and they heard this conversation.
I'm going to let everybody know, okay, that we're going to have to restart Teams again in less than 15 minutes. Okay?
Wow.
Because someone didn't hang up. All right? So I'm going to and since we're still on break technically, because the file is still playing on the radio side and we're not being heard on the radio side, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then we're going to have to then when we go to break at the top of the hour, I'll do it again just to get us back on track. All right? So make sure everybody hangs up. All right? And then we'll pick up and talk about it more. And hopefully we'll be closer to the end of the clip, because we have about a little over 7 minutes or over 6 minutes. All right, I'm going to do that right now. So everybody hang up and wait for me to call back.
Nancy, just to say too, that was a great conversation. I like that. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna hang up now, but I just
I
wanted to add
definitely
that.
hung up.
Yeah. I know somebody didn't. All right, Nancy, on the other side. All right, let's get this back up and rolling. I don't know what happened. I think we had a little bit of issue with some of the other stuff that's going on out there. We've had delays all over the place tonight. There you are, Roger. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
Nancy.
Hey.
Jason.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
All those
And Vicky.
hooligans. All
Yeah,
those hooligans.
maybe there's a chance I can get David Campione back in with us, but he told me in Facebook he was trying to get in, but it's not letting him in. I'm like, I don't know.
Why? I know Rafa's there too, trying to get in.
Yeah.
He was trying to figure out what room.
Well, see, I don't even I don't even have Raf on here.
Yeah. So
well, there he is. It's still trying to call Raf. That's why. Maybe because when Raf came in, that put us at 10. Or I don't know. We can have only 10 people in the call at one time with this.
okay, so with the first
Sonia,
part I
come
was
on,
on,
don't
I wanted to finish it up with the karma. Okay, now when it comes to karma and what we were talking about before, for many traditions, reincarnation provides like a moral structure, and karma ties to action, to consequences beyond one lifetime. You know, making the universe seem fairer. It seems like, and this idea persists because it
No. He wants you in, Karma.
It gives meaning to suffering.
She's
you know what I mean?
She's leaving out because she.
Instead of random
type
misfortune.
to her, Roger. She's leaving out. I have it up. Look for Cafe Enigma on YouTube under Dragus Productions.
No. That was the one thing that I did want to bring up too, is about karma, especially when it comes to that, when it comes to this this idea that it gives meaning to suffering, instead of a random misfortune. That life's a part of a larger story that stretches across incarnations and stuff of that nature.
Well,
Should I say my part now? Do you want me to say it?
Oh boy.
I'll be the only one. It's going to be short and sweet.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, once we take and get going, I'll tell you where it all led to. Basically, some connections with it from the original show that I did on it. So yeah, I think Nancy, you were on that show, and you'll probably remember when I start talking about it.
Yep, I do actually remember the show.
Has something to do with DNA.
Yep. Actually, I was posted about DNA.
Yep.
They had. I'm just going to say my little spiel and then
say
go.
it. Say it.
We use the term born again
Mhm.
and rebirth. That is not for the evangelical, for the Protestants, for the Christians. That is not the cycle which you all are talking about reincarnation, the soul going into another body and then going into another body, those cycles. It's a spiritual rebirth. And then Jesus was saying that it's given for a man to die, and after that, the judgment. So he lives on earth, and when he dies, he goes immediately to the chosen place where he wants to go. As far as
and you're reborn there. So that's reincarnation too, though.
Well, it's heaven or hell. That's
you're
you go there
in one
immediately.
of those places.
But
Yeah.
and if it's not, and that would be a different way of saying that word. But
I was thinking Dante.
Don't get her riled.
I want to get her stirred
I'm
up
just
because
saying,
once we come back, I want to, you wanted to turn her loose. I'm trying to rile her up for you, Roger.
Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
Yeah.
Get her. She's
Some of
amazing.
the things that we're talking about, as far as the philosophy is concerned, the American Indian believes that we are dead and in hell, and the only way that we have is to go up. In other philosophies, let's say the only thing that they were able to find of him, well, they found all of him with the exception of his phalanx, which we now have monuments to. We also have the philosophy that the energy can't die. We have the scientific support of seeing an orb leaving these people directly after death. We do have actual evidence. The issue is whether or not this is now actual reality of what happens to us, or here's the other thing. We're talking about putting our essence into a mechanical being.
Okay, we got
Now,
30
you said
seconds
different-
before we come back on radio air. Okay.
Okay, so hold
If I
on a
make
minute.
a mathematical model of a rock, is it also a rock? I yield.
Okay, we got 30 seconds, so hold on. We're going to do a countdown, and we will get back to that. It sounds like you guys are fired up and ready to go. Poor MC, dirty work. Couldn't say a word edgewise.
Oh, he will when I start bringing some stuff up, and then Nancy's gonna join in too. 3, 2, 1, and you're live right now.
Okay. Across cultures and centuries, reincarnation has persisted as one of humanity's most enduring beliefs. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the soul cycles through many lives, guided by karma, the law of cause and effect. In the ancient Mediterranean, philosophers like Pythagoras and Plato argued that knowledge itself was memory from past lives. Even in the West, stories of children recalling names, places, and events they could never have known continued to challenge skepticism. Regressive therapy seeks to unlock these hidden memories, often through hypnosis. Patients describe vivid scenes, identities, and sometimes even languages they have never studied. Some report physical symptoms tied to past traumas, aches, or scars that only make sense when linked to another life. Are these simply creations of the imagination, or could they be glimpses from something deeper, signals imprinted on the mind itself? Consider this. If the brain is a pattern weaving system, what if these regressions are signals, fragments of rhythm and memory woven into the very fibers of consciousness? Could we be turning into something larger than ourselves? And with that, I'm going to open it up to the panel. But first, I'm going to see if my co-host is still here. Is she? No, she is
Nope,
not.
she
With
isn't.
With that being said, I am going to go ahead and open it up to the panel. Who would like to go first? I will hold up here. Let's get first to come start this out. He said he had some stuff. Go ahead and respond to that if you want to. First, gotta unmute. Man, oh man.
I guess everybody's on mute tonight, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up. Go ahead, Nancy.
No, I was going to say it's interesting the way you worded coming into this. I mean, you've got so many different cultures that look at it so many different ways. I mean, one of the most common things you hear is that everybody is reborn into the 12 signs of the zodiac. That basically Aries is the first sign, Pisces is the last sign. So by the time you hit Pisces, which I happen to be, you have lived 11 other lives, and you lived them basically repeating mistakes. So by the time you get to Pisces, you're supposed to have learned as much as you possibly could, because it's like your last step. It's that's at least one of the theories. I
Is that what
don't.
makes us old
I got.
souls?
Well, I think they say that too. Pisceans are
Yeah.
old souls, and
Mhm.
but they're also, if you notice, our sign is like one of the primary signs when it comes to suicidal thoughts. It's Pisces. It can be very erratic, depending on how they think and how they handle things. But because they're a highly emotional sign. But I can tell you that, I mean, just even with all the different cultures and how you view it, there are too many things that cannot be explained for us to rule out reincarnation. You've got children who have memories, I mean, accurate memories of World War II. I mean, like 3 and 4 year olds who can give you flight patterns for the RAF because they believe they're a reincarnated pilot. They have no idea what that means, but they'll come out with these entire storylines of what life they lived. You have people who have mind-bending fears of things that they cannot explain, and they have a memory of a death. Of, like, fire is one of the bigger ones, where if somebody died in a fire, it's really strange, because I've met 3 people that believe that they've been reincarnated and that they died in fire because they dream of it all the time. So again, I told you guys, I'm on the fence when it comes to reincarnation, because there is a thing called cellular memory. And cellular memory isn't just body function. Cellular memory is actually memory of events. And they've proven that you can actually inherit the memories of your ancestors. And I'm going to also add
two
that
points, but they're contradictory. In one point, we don't have a genetic. I know about the World War II reference that you were giving, and that's actually part of the story I'd like to share too. But that has no family relationship. So there's something that is happening at multiple levels here. We're not just talking about a single level. We're talking about,
What I was going to say on the end of that, though, was that we have discovered in the past decade, and again, when we're saying cellular memory, and it's not genetic, but when women sleep with more than one man, that man, every time there's copulation, he's leaving cells in her body, which can be, when she gets pregnant, passed on to the child. So, in other words, that child, even though it's genetically of its father, it can have cellular memory of anybody else that the mother has had intercourse with. And that's science.
She has to make antibodies to him. Each
Yep,
person
that's
should
right,
make antibodies to.
So
something I think is
3 and 4's out there.
interesting.
Go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say something I think is interesting. That sac of fluid that we're born into, it's called amniotic fluid. Amnesia, amniotic fluid. So it etymology-wise, it almost gives the idea that wherever we're coming from, which I think is just as interesting of a question as what happens when we die, where we're going to, where were we before we were here. Etymology-wise, amniotic fluid seems like somebody doesn't want us to know what was going on before, or if anything was going on before.
Well, not only that, but you also have that spark that is life. And I kind of always go back to that too, because that shows an energy. When an egg and a sperm meet, if it's something that creates a fetus, there's literally a physical spark, a bright light that occurs, and life begins.
Wasn't there an old film that they actually got that on? They actually took a camera, and this is in like the 70s. I'm talking like maybe 77, 78, or maybe the very early 80s. But yeah, and they tracked the whole light or whatever, and actually got that spark. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I remembered that.
No, that's
Yep.
true. It's Guerrillan photography they took that from.
Yes.
Yep.
And
You know, it's interesting because go ahead, Vic. Go ahead.
oh no, I just was saying that according to the other school of thought, the Christians, the evangelicals, God is the one that creates that life within the mother, and so he creates that life. If you see it as a spark, that's fine. And then, as I said before, as far as humans are concerned, um, it's given to men once to die and then the judgment. So they go based on whether they've accepted salvation or not, to heaven or hell, and that it's immediate, and there is no running around, or like the Nephilim, those that were wiped out from the flood, and their souls are running around, and those are what we call demons. And the reason I bring that up is because some schools of thought thinks that when you're doing hypnotic or and you are putting someone, you're basically hijacking their minds, that is a way that any demons around can come in, and that's what you're hearing from. I'm just saying the school of thought, that's what you're hearing from. You're not it's not from that person. Now, only if you are a born again, we use that term, believer, your soul is sealed. You get the gift of the Holy Spirit. Now, you can be, if you're not, possessed by demons. You've heard of that, right? Possession.
Of course.
It's not just the law.
And right. So my question, and I do not know this, the answer, but if people somehow, if they can be possessed by a running around, whatever demon is condemned to be on earth until the end, then, how that may not be different as to how they're getting it, put into a machine.
Well, here's the thing, Vic. I can integrate science into your beliefs, much as you don't want to hear this, but it does work. I mean, the Christian beliefs, and I'm not Christian and definitely not a born again. The beliefs believe in the Holy Spirit. They believe in the demonic entity. They believe in all of these things that are not physical. Okay, they're not corporeal. So what would they be? If I'm going to break it down, I'm going to say it's a form of energy.
Right.
Correct.
So
again, we're in that same train of thought now. So if a Holy Spirit can come into your soul, into your body, why can a soul not, if it's energy, why can it not reincarnate? I mean, and we're talking reincarnation occurs when the child, okay, so you have the gup. I mean, I'm pretty well religiously schooled, and the gup, of course, is the innocent souls. Those are the well of souls of infant children that have never lived before. They're pure, they're innocent. They're housed in the, and supposedly when a woman conceives, a soul comes from the gup to inhabit the child that she has conceived. Now, that child still has to be baptized by any Christian faith, but the fact is that is the thing. But it's still a form of energy. That spark of conception is a form of energy.
Yes,
it's something entering that fetus. Again, if I'm going to follow that science and not follow the religion, I'm going to say, if it's spark to life, it's spark at death, and we can prove that the human body actually weighs less. When it dies, it actually loses, I think it's something like 1.2 grams. They cannot explain that loss. They cannot. I have heard that. Yep. It's not, there's no explaining the loss. It's not bodily fluid. It's not defecation. They don't know what that loss is. So
it's hydrogen.
Well, we do. It's just that we won't admit to knowing it, right?
This is what I'm saying. And this is not an easy conversation to have because everybody has different beliefs and nobody wants to offend anybody else, but you have to be logical about it in some ways. And you have to, of course, adhere to your beliefs. I'm not here to tell anybody to not believe what they believe.
Something I've learned, and it's been a really hard knock learning it. No matter what I believe is not going to change the truth. So when I get there, I guess I'll find out.
And that's the answer to everybody. It's so funny because I've done ghost hunting for decades, and when Vicky talks about nope, you either go to heaven or hell. One of the things I always said on investigations, because trust me, I have run into things, and I think you guys know me pretty well. I don't shake easily. Not a lot of things scare me, and they'll startle me, but I want answers. And 99% of the time.
Go ahead and friend me in the chat and everything, and get a hold of me tomorrow. I do have some information for you, but it seems like a good place for the story I had for you. Would you like me to explain it?
Sure.
When I was 3 or 4 years old, I had a very frustrating argument with my mother, and it had to do with memories and things of that nature. But it's really strange because I'm displaced from the memory. I remember being 3 years old. I remember the frustration, but the actual details of that frustration, I remember when I was 8 years old, describing what happened to me when I was 3 years old. But get this, I was 3 years old talking about something that happened 5 years prior.
Yeah. And that's not uncommon.
Well, here's what the take is on it, though. And what I do remember that is vivid. I remember a white room. I remember I could not leave it. I remember that there was a door and a perception of a window, conversation point that I could interact with somebody. I don't remember speaking. I remember being impressions. And I remember that I wanted to do this life. And they're saying, no, this other life would be so much better for you. And it's like, no, look at what this life accomplishes. And I had to have an argument, and I made a petition to something, and they allowed me to live the life that I was living. Prior to that, which I wouldn't really realize until I was around 22, 23 years old, I was attending Oshkosh, and one of the few PT-38s, which is the twin fork devil that they talk about. It's normally a one pilot. However, they had taken all the radio gear out behind the pilot seat and put in a jump seat. And I was privileged in order to ride along around the pattern a couple of times in that. But that airplane is extremely unique. It has counter rotating propellers. On one side, it rotates clockwise. The other side, it rotates counterclockwise. And it places such an unusual gyroscope on the airplane that I instantly knew the moment that the wheels left. I knew every inch of that airplane. I had memory of it. I knew where the throttle was. I knew where the sticks were. I knew where the ignition switch was. I knew the unusual wiggle in the tail caused by the rotations of the prop. And I had determined at that time that it was a flashback of a memory during World War II. I was reborn in 1962. And it was the time between the time that I had died, which I believe was in combat, to the time of 1962 that I was reborn. But I was remembering the time in between, that I was held someplace, that I had a choice, and I had made a choice in order to participate. I yield.
It's so interesting that you're saying that, because when I said that's not uncommon. Children they're little windows into the universe in many, many ways, because they haven't been jaded. when they're little, their view of the world is so innocent. There's no impressed perceptions that we put on them. Not yet. And you can tell when they start getting of school age is when they start losing that innocence, and they see things. I always say, listen to them, because they're telling you things. And a lot of times, like I said, when you talk about past life regression or a past life experience, it's children that are relaying it because they haven't forgotten yet. Or they didn't, and I don't know why some people don't forget and some people do. I know I've said to people, if I ever lived a past life, I was probably a teacher, because I get this, every time I think about it, I get this vision of a Victorian era educator. And I don't know why. And I'm like, that's so weird. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I lived a past life, that was something I was. That, or genetically it got handed down to me. One of the two.
Now, before you guys continue with that, I do want to get into the regression therapy. That is something that's very important now. Regression therapy, how hypnosis is used, and whether it opens doors to memory or imagination. Okay, now regression therapy is usually carried out under hypnosis. The client is guided into like a deeply relaxed trance-like state where critical awareness softens, the unconscious is allowed to surface. Now, the therapist then suggests going back, sometimes to early childhood, other times to supposed past lives. What emerges are vivid scenes, emotions, and narratives that feel real to the person experiencing them. Now, this is how hypnosis, according to what I've found out, works. It's the relaxation plus the suggestibility. Okay, that's where hypnosis lowers the filtering mechanisms of the conscious mind. And that's usually the prefrontal gatekeeper. Okay, and it increases suggestibility. That means memories, associations, and creative imagery can flow more freely. So access to store materials is what that comes to. In this altered state, people may be able to retrieve like forgotten details of their childhood or even pre-verbal memories, But hypnosis is not a perfect memory retrieval tool. It's more like turning up the volume on whatever is lingering in the subconscious. So after that, you come to the narrative construction. The brain loves patterns and coherence. If there are gaps in memory, the mind often fills them with imagination, sometimes unconsciously. Now, under hypnosis, this can feel absolutely authentic. And this is what Vicky is kind of getting to in her religious thing, but I'm talking about it in like the actual scientific part. It may seem absolutely authentic. Some argue that hypnosis bypasses conscious censorship, allowing repressed or deeply buried memories to surface, though. And a good example of that is like trauma survivors sometimes recall earlier experiences under regression that align with like later verified events. Advocates of past life regression claim that some mechanisms apply, like memory exists beyond the present lifetime, and hypnosis unlocks it. So those are the kind of things that happens with regressive therapy. And
what about alien when they have been abducted by alien and they use that, right, to go back and see what happened?
Yes, a lot of people do use it.
It is one of the therapies they use on what they call abductees.
Uh-huh.
To try to get to the core of the trauma that they experienced.
Right.
But the problem I have with hypnotic therapy is that you are at the mercy of the administrator. And we've seen it used in very bad ways. Back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, we had all those poor people working the child daycare centers where, if you even stepped sideways, they were taking the kids into hypnotherapy and getting all these horrible, horrible abuses that were occurring, and it all turned out to be crap. And it was therapists that were implanting thoughts. So, we've learned it could be a weapon, but on the other side of that, we only use 10% of our brains. So God only knows what we're capable of storing, what we're capable of doing. They're proving now that people are absolutely capable of telepathic thought, and we do it very naturally. These are all things that they're working on currently in science. They know we share our dreams. If you are a couple and you sleep together every night in the same bed, it's just a matter of time before you start sharing your dreamscape. And they found that out with the U.S. military. In fact, Raphael knows about that because when I was reading it, I was like, oh, dear God. Apparently, some of their spec ops guys, their wives knew details of their missions. And so the government investigated it, thinking that the guys were talking. No, they were sharing it in their dreams. And that is actually a United States Army study because they were trying to get to the bottom of it. They thought they had a leak, and that was not the problem. The problem was that they sleep with their wives, and they do so every night that they're home, and they linked. And it's not everybody that does that, but they say that you are attracted. I've always heard that your mate or mates, because most people have more than one mate in their life. You are attracted to somebody. You are attracted to somebody who came from the same proton. So we're basically all proton dust, and we know that. That's kind of what we consist of, our physical form. But they say that you are attracted to somebody of like frequency. And go ahead.
Now, Tanhai Tran had a comment. He said, I like the Protestant lady's comment about born again. It's spiritual rebirth, not the same as reincarnation.
Correct.
Yeah. Just clarifying that terminology there. Yes.
We got to make her to where she's happy because we don't want her getting angry. You don't want to see her when she gets angry.
Yeah.
She doesn't get angry.
Get a hold of me because there's something about energy that you keep trying to go back to science, and I have some revelation for you on that topic, but it's a little bit deep in order to bring into this show.
Yeah, energy, like I always say, energy is everything. It's frequency and vibration. We as humans are, all you are is a giant oscillating particles. So kept together by frequency and vibration. That's, again, a scientific fact.
We established something here that I think that we can go back to, that there is a spark of light at the beginning of life, and at the end of life, there's a release of that light.
Okay, so hold on a minute, guys. We have 1 minute until break. So before you go any further, hold that thought, and we will be back after the break. So, okay, give it a second. We'll do the break, and then we'll be back to discuss it even more. So.
You bet.
All right.
We're on break.
All right. Yeah, this is where we usually get into some really good conversation. So if you want to keep talking about it, you can.
I'm gonna wait about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna hang this one up, and then we're gonna start another call again. And we lost Sonia once again.
How come?
Well, she bounced in one time, and then she bounced in, came in again, and she bounced out again.
Yeah, I tried to get David, and David's like, I've been trying to get in, and I'm like, I've been trying to add you too, and I don't see you. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, she said she had to go because of her daughter, so she's probably got to she's probably got to go pick her daughter up at work, but she usually does right around this time. So.
Okay.
Now, when you guys were talking, the one thing that really gets me is, well, first of all, I don't separate the physical, the emotion / psychological, and the spiritual. I think that all of them are connected. Okay, so whenever I look at neuroscience and I look at physical aspects, I kind of look at it as a part of it, because like with neuroscience, they suggest that like hypnosis enhances visualizations. Okay, and it's also big on narrative building. So like what a client remembers may be nothing more than a confabulation or stories, generated by the brain out of.
It's kind of like AI. It has its own drift.
Yeah. Now, and plus you also have to think of emotional intensities of the experiences. It makes it feel like the memory is like it feels like a memory, even if it's an imaginative construct. And archetypes too. We build archetypes up in our brain. It's another thing when it comes to myth making, things of that nature. Like that's what we've done ever since the beginning of time, is we've created myths out of a lot of things. So and it's all connected. So
there's a couple points that I'm thinking. First of all, if you say the energy cannot be destroyed or created, and for lack of a better word, there are reincarnation is done by the transfer of souls. Doesn't that mean there is a finite amount of souls, therefore a finite amount of possible beings?
That's always been insinuated, though, even with the GUP.
Yeah,
There was only
I
a
like that
finite
though.
amount.
Good question.
he
there's
just
only a-
opened a can of whoop ass right there, to be honest.
But
It's kind of like Bitcoin. Just think of humans.
Well,
as
wait
Bitcoin.
a second. In the Bible, that question's answered. It has to do with Adam and Eve and somebody getting their butt kicked. They were banished and they went away. But don't worry, you will be the founder of all this great nation, even though they'll carry the mark. And if he was the founder of that great nation, would it not be his soul that ultimately would be the regeneration of that entire bloodline? Or maybe that is what you're tied to is DNA. And if you had this conversation about DNA, your soul would be identified with that DNA and follow that DNA, but it is not restricted by time.
yeah, and don't forget too, DNA can be changed. We all know that with mRNA, as well as, anytime you get a blood transfusion, and women when they have sex.
Well, it's
So-
not just that. I mean, again, it's outlined that there are only X amount of souls in the GUP. And the GUP are the new souls. And literally,
What if the DNA was actually the tuning rod for that soul?
it is the tuning rod.
And when you change that DNA, it separates the soul.
That's the fear. Okay, see, now you're getting into something that I have talked about on my show, and my fear with the mRNA and CRISPR and all this crap. Now they've actually
All right.
developed.
I hate to
They've
cut
actually-
you off, Nancy, but we're going to have to take and leave this room to go to the next one. All right?
All right.
All right?
Can we hang out?
Everybody
I'll be right
hang
there.
up.
Make sure you
Remember,
hang
hang
up.
I'll do that.
Raph, hang up.
Yeah.
There we go. And let me get the next one rolling once again. Because we use Teams, and it's time. hello, hello.
Here we are. Got the
Hey, guys.
Wild Bunch.
Roger, when we get
Yes.
back on air to do a shout out, because I have a very old friend from the Ghost Hunters chat that's listening.
Yeah.
And she's actually part of the Edgar Foundation, Jolie. Jolie's actually listening right now. She just texted me because she was like, I'm loving this show right now. This is really incredible. So I'd like to give her a shout out and thank her for listening.
Do it.
Because like I said, she listens to the Vault all the time, but I'm really happy to see she tuned in for tonight. That's awesome.
That's greatness. You know what I mean? That's what the Cafe Enigma is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about making people happy. Dude, I'm so amazed with how many people freaking wanted to come in here and be a part of this. Like, I'm serious. First, I'll tell you, freaking, I put the post in Jaffe's room, and bam, he was on it, dude. He's like, I want to come in, dude.
And then he didn't show.
He's right there.
Jaffe? Is
No,
that him?
First.
Oh, the
First.
first. I thought Jaffe would. I thought Jaffe was going to try to come in too, but maybe too
Well,
early.
He said he was, but
By the way, Mark Edworthy, it's law of thermodynamics that we're talking about.
yeah,
Energy
that's
neither is great.
I've never heard of the gup. I would not.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a finite thing. Well, in my biblical studies, it's God knows how many souls there are, and like the end of the church age when
Well,
they're raptured. Okay.
Well, here we go. Then you're going to think too. All right. What about all the souls that aren't even on this planet?
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
It
all
doesn't.
the souls
God
belong to
didn't
God,
say He
so
only
knows
gave
what-
souls to man. All right. I don't remember
he did.
any
I
passage.
was going to say, I think South Park covered this.
Made in his image. They're made in his image.
His image,
That's
yes,
just
but
right.
he
that would be
didn't
the
say
angels
that
and humans.
that he didn't
Ha-
give the
has anyone
spark to.
considered
That's
how
why
many
I
different
said intercedal beings. I didn't actually specify humans. Because I was thinking more on the Buddhist sort of
Relax,
line,
relax, Mark. Sit down so we can see you.
has-
We can't
I
see you
am
flipping your
sorry,
hair
just
around,
Has
all right,
anyone
if you're
considered-
standing up.
yeah, that's like
I was thinking on the Buddhist
you
sort
can't
of
let
realm of
these ladies see your
being
trousers, man.
reincarnated into a slug or snail or a bird or something.
I will have to say enough of that. Don't allow these ladies to see your trousers.
Has anyone considered how many different parasites and single-celled individual cells that make up the human being that all have to cooperate?
That's actually
Well,
going to be.
consider
That's
the
actually.
100
Gonna,
trillion.
that's
Have
actually
you
going to
considered
be
the
part
fractal
of.
energy that is
Oh.
powering that assembly. There's a fractal that powers that assembly in order to come out to consciousness. And
Yeah.
that consciousness is shared by that energy that powers everybody. After all, human beings are a lot more interesting when they're animated.
That's something that I'm eventually going to want to talk about too, because that also goes into stuff that I like to discuss when it comes to the underworld. Okay, people don't understand.
3, 2, 1, and you're
That's,
live, Roger.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back. We are. What is this second break? Now, we are going to do a deeper dive into this topic. We're going to explore the science of signals within the brain itself. Neuroscience describes two key networks. That's the mossy fibers and climbing fibers. Mossy fibers guide information in orderly rhythms, ensuring raw signals are interpreted correctly. Climbing fibers, on the other hand, spiral upward, less constrained, transforming raw data into new patterns of knowledge. Together, they create a dance of structure and transformation in the very architecture of learning. So today, I wanted to bring up on this part of the stream basically 2 talking points, and that is, could mossy fibers within the brain be pathways to higher perception? And are mossy fibers the anchors of reality? In same way, myths describe such things as the world tree. So with that, I want to open this up with first these fibers. But are they biological myth generators within our brains? Now, when I pose the question, I'm connecting neurobiology with myth making, asking whether structures in the brain like climbing fibers and mossy fibers could be the very mechanisms that transform raw experiences into symbolic narratives, which later become myths. Now, climbing fibers carry raw, powerful, often unpredictable bursts of signal, like sudden insights or visions or emotional surges. In mythical language, this is the spark or divine inspiration, the lightning bolt from the gods, the dream visitations, or the mystical revelation. Now, mossy fibers provide rhythm and sequence, structuring signal into a pattern activity that can be stored and recalled. In myth making, this resembles the process of taking wild, chaotic experiences and weaving them into story, something the community can share and understand. Now, every culture has myths of ascent, climbing ladders, trees, vines, mountains, and order, which is roots, foundation, underworlds. Now, these reflect how the brain itself is wired, oscillating between chaos, which is raw signals, and order, which is patterns. Now, the act of storytelling might be brain's attempt at reconciling these 2 forces and internal neurological rhythm that becomes expressed in mythic archetypes. Okay, so with that, I'm going to open it up and I want to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Well, isn't that kind of what dreams do? I mean, dreams are basically your brain's way and your consciousness's way of breaking things down to metaphorical value. I always hated it when they would say, your dreams they're just trash. They're nothing. No, that is not true. Nothing about us is nothing. Okay. Mm-hmm. We are perfect creatures in many, many, many ways, and we're very, very, very advanced in many ways that we give ourselves no credit for because we've been told not to. But your dreams, 90% of people's dreams are metaphorical breakdowns of either their day, their week, their past, or in many cases, their future. It is your consciousness communicating with the id, the unconscious.
I think that would also be confused with what everyone is capable of doing, and many times in a dream state does it, is out-of-body travel. They actually can go and observe events from a 4th perspective. It's not a 3rd perspective. It becomes a 4th perspective because it is their interpretation through a 3rd party's interpretation when they do that. However, now I haven't heard the fibers that you're referring to, but after you started describing their function, I recognized it right away. And it's a little bit of a 3-part story here. The first part is, where does it come from? Where this story comes from is the original meaning of the word worship. There is a syllable or a hard consonant missing. And what that is the letter K. It's workship. You used to work for the church. Everybody was communal. The entire church held the community together, and by working for the church, you earned your food, your keep, and what else you would have. So if it was defense, if it was creating something called monatomic gold, which was the biggest actual workship that they actually performed at that time. The monatomic gold has a special function, and it can not only be in our physical realm, but it also can transfer to the energetic realm. And white gold is another description for that, which many people over the age of 40 would recognize. But they don't recognize monatomic because we really didn't have that in the mainstream media, that terminology. So white gold dating back to the time of Christ. And this white gold has a place that it collects in the body, and that is your pineal gland in the center of your brain, which is also your eye, which is made up of the fibers that maybe he was talking about specifically. That is actually a third eye that has no escape in order to see light. So what is it looking at? It's looking at the energy world. I yield.
All right. Now, before
Yeah,
we
your
go, hold
pineal
up.
gland. I was
Nancy
just gonna
wanted to
say.
do. Hold up. Nancy
Oh,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
do a shout out real quick, and then I want you to take over, MC. But Nancy, you wanted to do a shout out, so I hope she's still there. She might have stepped away. Did
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Right.
what he was talking about, the pineal gland. Yeah, absolutely. Your third eye, etc. I could see that. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to do what they called it lucid dreaming. When you know that you're dreaming. And I mean, I did it pretty often. I mean, maybe every other day, every 3 days. And until I was about, almost 18, I thought that was normal. Thought everybody did that. And then when I was 17, something like that, I didn't found out what it was actually called, lucid dreaming. But yeah, astro traveling. I definitely believe in something like that. I don't want to get too far into it now, but I got pretty good with it once I learned in my dreams that I was self-aware, and I was like, all right, I'm dreaming. Immediately it was like, all right, let me play with this. Let's see what we can, because usually you wake up when that happens, but then I got really good with it. I got to the point where I could float. Then it was more than a float. It was a very controlled float. Then it was literally what I would call flying. It sounds really stupid, you know what I mean?
No,
But
it doesn't actually.
it was tripped out through my 20s. It was really tripped out. This was like a thing that went on for about 6-7 years. But anyway, yeah.
Well, you guys know, for those of you who know me, you know I'm a precognitive dreamer. I do see events before they happen. A lot of times I don't want to, but yep, there it is. But I've always theorized that I am remote viewing when I'm dreaming like that. Simply because when I have those dreams, I always describe it to people as my senses are on crack. Everything I see is not just colorful, it's colorful times 50. Everything I hear is amplified. Everything I smell is amplified. Everything I touch is it's like being on ecstasy. You know, it's just like, whoa. I have all of my senses and I know who I am, but I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And a lot of times, like I said, my dreams are coupled and Mark will tell you this, they're in twos. It's usually 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 hours, 2 months before the event takes place. And it can be timed right down to the minute. But again, I've always believed that's not astral projection. That was actually remote viewing.
Not to be a sniper, but I'd like to add something to that. When you're actually viewing those things, those are the weight of history and the momentum moving toward that time. And if you're having those and they're turning out bad, take those and you can alter that, because that is in front of you and it is the momentum of time that you're actually measuring. Yield.
Actually, because very rarely are they personal. They're world events. I always say, in fact, Jolie, by the way, hi, Jolie, I know you're listening. She'll remember it because she was in the chat when it happened. This is years ago. the Northern Illinois campus shooting, when a guy went on campus in Northern Illinois College and basically shot it up. I was not just there, I was next to some of the victims as they fell. In my dream, of course. I could describe them to the T. I could smell the gunpowder. I could tell you the building it happened in. I could describe it, and this is before the news broke. I was writing about this in my chat because I had dreamt it and I knew it was coming. And I kept saying, 2 days, 48 hours, I'm going to put it on that line because this is something, it's imminent. But there's nothing I can do to alter it. It's funny because I've always thought that I'm not here to alter it. I'm here to be the landing pad for people. I'm here to be a support system to get people to not overreact, to basically maybe emotionally get them through it. It's the only reasonable thing I can think of as to why I'd be shown things. Hurricane Katrina. That was a 6-month dream that kept adding to itself. When an event happened, that part of the dream would stop and something else would add on. So I can't tell you, I couldn't have controlled that if I wanted to. I can't tell you why. I can see it. I think it might be something frequency and time based. When I'm remote viewing, for some reason, I'm synced in with something.
A lot of times we confuse things by getting them exactly opposite. It's not so much that you are being sent these images. You're actually seeking these images out because you're that curious about the world around you. Would that make sense?
That's very possible. But like I said, it's, in fact, that's funny you say that because I always say I'm in a constant state of readiness. Like I live my whole life literally waiting for like the next event to happen because I can feel it when it's coming. And it's weird, like with the.
Oh, now you've stepped on something here. Mind you, I'm 62 years old, so I've had the ups, I've had the downs, and the downs, some of them has been rather crazy. And I realized while I was in these downs, it was almost suicidal. And I would think about it as like, I don't give a rat's ass. I'm too interested in what's going to happen next. And it survived. It has saved my life multiple times.
Well, it's more of it's like a constant state of situational awareness. Like even in my life, day to day, I mean, my husband is on with us, Raphael. He'll tell you, I'm situationally aware. Like I see things that nobody else sees 90% of the time. I can see somebody's eye move in a certain way, their forehead creases. I can tell you exactly what they're thinking because I'm situationally aware. And I don't know what triggered that in my life, but some event triggered it. And it's just the way I am. But it's the same thing in the dream.
You are familiar with the name Aleister Crowley, right?
Oh, yes. Very familiar.
Okay. You're familiar with his story of walking down the street behind somebody and he was demonstrating his ability in order to take over that person's mind and make them falter?
Oh, yes. Well, that's
okay.
a goal.
Now, if you reverse that and you're simply empathetic, what is the result of that? That you're picking up on that other person's mind empathetically, not invasively.
No, it can be invasive. I'm 1,000% empathic.
It's not invasive. It's a matter of frequency, and you have no control of that. It's the same thing as being able to control whether or not you can feel pain if someone tries to burn you. You can't control that. It's part of you.
A lot of times I will apologize to people because I can literally hear their thoughts, and I'll be like, I don't want to know that. Need to walk away now because you're really loud and I know you're not talking, but I can hear you. My husband will tell you that too, because sometimes I'll yell across the house, stop that, I can hear you. And he'll start laughing. He knows. But I don't, and I told you at the beginning of this, I do believe this is all frequency based. I think it's a frequency I'm tuned to. My genetics are tuned to it. This is something that's hereditary. It comes down through the lineage of my family. And it's something that each female or male, because some of the men are like this too.
Hey, do you feel my vibe? Do you feel my vibe? Because this is a very old saying. Do you feel my vibe? We can go back all the way to the 1960s. Can you feel my vibe? The people, I can't remember the two guys' name that seen the entire universe in a mathematical fractal. They freaked me out in South America. I can't remember, but they were really responsible for a lot of the parties and, more importantly, some of the legendary concerts later. But I can't remember their names. But you have to understand something. You are actually attached to the energy around you. And you can't turn that off. You can't turn it on. There is no controlling. It's the same thing as deciding that your heart's not going to beat. It's not going to beat when it's time not to beat. It's not going to be something you command to happen. So that's the thing that you're going to have to realize. And I just try to make it work to people's benefits. I try to bring balance to people with it. I try to, like, if I learned very young not to tell somebody if I have a dream about them. I don't tell them, because I don't ever want to do cause and effect. So I usually just try to gently guide them in a different direction. I see a lot of parallel between me and you. We're just we're in the same college. We're in the same classes. It's Tom a year ahead of you, it seems.
Yep. I'm like, I'm 65.
I have a desire to share so much with you, but some of it requires some, introductions and stuff like that. But the energies that you're describing and how you're describing it, there is no escape from, because we are in a hyper energetic field just in order to create us. Have you ever noticed that if you look at the pattern of veins in a human body, you look at a tree, it's exactly the same ratios. If you look at lightning, it's the same ratios, the same fractal over and over again that is directing certain particles to do certain things. And the complexity of your mind is actually a very small, tiny fractal, that only one instance of this particular fractal is yours.
Well, see, when you say that though, that's where I was talking about. Everybody jumps to that conclusion, like the mind is just insignificant, and it's actually not. You really don't comprehend what your mind is doing, because you have fractured memories that are within your mind that you aren't even aware of. Everything you see, hear, taste, feel, smell is put into your brain in little fractured memories, and you don't even know what they are.
It goes further.
Well, we can go back to the 100th monkey that was observed over there in islands. They had treats that they were throwing to the monkeys. It was getting sand on it, and there was one group of monkeys that learned in order to sit there and take it back down to the water, rinse it off, and eat it. What was odd about it is that island with no contact whatsoever picked up on the same habits as this other island. And there's only one explanation, and that would be race memory, but current race memory, that you're connected to that energetic flow. I yield.
Well, all right. Like I said, Roger, I've described it to you guys a million times. When I dream, I do what I call grid surf. I'm surfing a network, a universal network. It's like a web. I can see it.
Hold on. We've got 1 minute until break. Hold that thought, and we will be right back and continue this conversation, Nancy.
That's funny.
All right, we're on radio break right now.
He brought the same thing up last week.
I bring up that 100th monkey like every other week.
The monkey man.
Now our conversations give the context.
I think the best use of it.
Come up.
I think the best use of it, whether it be the 100th monkey or the 10,000th monkey, is there's 10,000 monkeys at the door asking us in order to look at a script for Hamlet that they wrote. Straight out of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, okay? And that is the best example, because everything will happen. It will happen again. It'll be thought of again, and it is recursive. And that is as well as in mind as it is in physical.
Everything.
Okay, whether it be history or you got to remember, when we're talking about history, we're talking about man-made things. We're not talking about nature-built things. We're just tracking our insanity.
All right. Well,
Well,
don't forget.
Universe does,
Don't forget, Roger.
universe-
At 10 till we got to start wrapping up, and then 5 till
10
we
till.
got to clear.
Now 10 till, you're talking about 10 till 10, right?
Right. And
Okay, so
guys got to remember that the universe has memory. I mean, the Akashic, that's no joke. The
Yeah.
Akashic, or whatever you want to call it, Edgar Casey dubbed it the Akashic, but it is basically, there's no time. And I've always said that time is a perception. There is no time. Everything is stored in the Akashic, all of it, whether it be humanity, whether it be something extraterrestrial, everything universe that deals with the universe is stored in that Akashic. Every memory.
Edgar Casey, that's far out stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
here's,
we,
here's the other
are
thing.
you
Remember
gonna
the,
are you gonna
reincarnation
continue?
belief?
Are you gonna continue the divination series then, as part of this?
Jolie is actually reminding me about the
Because that would be
Baltimore
really
Bridge.
that would probably fall in really good with the rest of this and make a nice series out of this.
well, actually, this is
I
a
have
part.
a
this is
quote
the
that I'd
part-
like to bring in.
This is a part of a series that I'm doing called "In Search of Thanatron." Now, this is actually going to be. We're delving into this, but eventually, I'm going to get into another one that's going to be another series. But this actually is just one part of it, because like in the first one we did the ionosphere, and I wanted to get into blue beam. The second one we talked about other voices, and we started talking about biological technology, and this time now we're talking about reincarnation. So the next one, I mean, you brought it up in the last show we were talking about. So Einstein's brain, I mean, that's where we got to go. Einstein's brain and freaking Atlantis, dude.
Einstein's brain, actually Tesla's brain. Throw that in there too.
Oh,
Well,
it kind of
Which
goes
in search
hand
of
in
are you
hand.
going to use for that one then? Because I don't.
We're going to find a good one.
Because they didn't have one just on Einstein.
Well, I know they have one on Atlantis, though.
Yes,
and-
Atlantis,
but see,
yes. The Lost Continent.
Atlantis, Star Children, as well as Genius and Einstein's brain are all connected. Believe it or not.
Oh, so
If you-
then
if
you're going to connect that with Mu and all the other Lost Continents then too? Or?
Oh no, Mu and Mu.
Lemuria?
Yeah.
Lemuria.
Because
that's all
that
going
was
into
that was
my
actually a
underworld.
series that In Search of did.
Right, and that's
What
going
about
to be
Where we've
Tartaria?
been and where we're going.
Lemuria is sitting at the South Pole. That's a big deal at the South Pole. That is Lemuria.
Lemuria,
You got
Hollow
Tartaria.
Earth.
30 seconds, everybody.
Oh, yeah. All right. You
In
gotta
fact, they
get me
say
out.
a lot of
Guys,
people are attracted to Florida because they think that was once Tartaria.
Mhm.
All right, here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live right now.
If regression therapy taps into hidden layers of memory, could it be working through these same pathways? The mossy fiber holding continuity, the climbing fibers opening ascent into patterns beyond ordinary perception. The parallels between reincarnation cycles and the brain's learning cycles. When I draw that parallel, I'm highlighting how two very different domains, spiritual belief in reincarnation and scientific understanding of neural learning, seem to echo the same cyclical structure. In Hindu, Buddhist, and many indigenous traditions, reincarnation is not random rebirth, but a cycle of lessons. The soul returns again and again, carrying residues of past lives karma, working through unfinished patterns. Each life is both a continuation and an opportunity for transformation, refining consciousness over time. In the brain, learning rarely happens in one go. Circuits run through cycles of trial and error, especially in systems like the cerebellum. Mossy fibers carry the predicted pattern, what we think will happen, while climbing fibers carry the error signals, the surprise, the correction. Through repetition, the nervous system adjusts each cycle, leaving a trace, making the pattern stronger or more refined. Karma in reincarnation is like the residual weight of experience in the brain. Just as karmic action influence future births, neural actions influence future cycles of behavior. Errors that are uncorrected persist. Lessons not learned repeat, mirroring the idea that souls return until the lesson is understood. For that, I'm going to open it up to you guys and let you go at it. See what you have to say about it.
I find
I
that
agree with it. I don't want to come back to this planet, whoever quote unquote God is, when I get there, I really hope that whatever proving ground this is, I passed it. Because, yeah, this has been fun. It's not been all bad, but I'm good. I'm good on doing it again. I definitely think there's something to that.
I know that our founding fathers did not want, a basis of religion or school of thought to be built on karma and that kind of thing, because there was no justice involved in that. Because it's all just nebulous as far as you do something and there won't be any justice. You just have to repeat it and try to get it right the next time. No
Hey, how many
consequences.
people like going to 4th of July and seeing all the fireworks? Do you like going to do that?
I'm just saying what the founding fathers wanted. That's why they went more with the Judeo-Christian. They wanted that. They weren't trying to force it, whichever one.
I don't know who the gentleman was that was talking before, but I want to answer him. If you've ever enjoyed going to the fireworks display, one of the biggest things that keep me wanting to come back right now, right here, what's going on, is because look how much money they spent on Armageddon, dude. Can you imagine? And it's going to be the biggest fireworks display in history. And you don't want to sit there and find out what happens? I do. And if I have to reincarnate one more time in order to check that out, I think I think it would be worth it.
Yeah,
How about anybody else?
Not for me. I'm for oblivion. End it all.
it's interesting.
But anyways, getting back into that, for the past lives and that, I think a lot has to do with genetics and how genes are passed from people to people. And we already know that genes carry memory. And they've even, used it in computers and things like that. So, or modeled computers after stuff like that to do that. So I really believe that, even though you might not have been a direct descendant, somewhere in the DNA, that memory can emerge. And that came from when I did the first show on this, from the original Cafe Enigma. And that was some of our conclusions on it as well.
That's a good way to come to a conclusion, to be honest.
It's epigenetics. I mean, that's that's what I was talking about at the very beginning of the show, was epigenetics and the fact that you have cellular memory, genetic memory. It passes down generation to generation. But where do you draw the line? Because there are things that are outside of epigenetics that occur that cannot be simply explained. It's kind of like when I was talking earlier about ghost hunting and some of the experiences I've had, where I can tell you I've gone into a location and I am as skeptical. I'm really skeptical in a lot of ways when I ghost hunt, because I know, there's a 99% chance that this is your brain trying to deal with something, or it's environmental, or there's always another explanation. But there's always that 1% that leaves you dumbfounded because you cannot for the life of you explain what you just witnessed or what you just heard. And it was funny because Vicky was saying something at that point about you either go to heaven or hell. And one of the running jokes we had in the paranormal was apparently somebody didn't get a copy of that contract, because there's a lot of things that happen where you're like, well, if that person's not in heaven or hell, they're just kind of wandering around the house. Even if it's a residual, that's still a trap. It's, it's energy that's trapped for some reason or another. It's, in fact, the paranormal is one of the reasons I have so much knowledge on electromagnetics and how EMF can affect your brain, and how radiation affects your brain, and how your environment affects your brain, and all these things that occur. And with all that knowledge, I still cannot explain to you some of the things I have been privy to. I still, with all the logic I've got, I can't explain it to you. I can tell you, well, obviously something's going on here. That's why they call it paranormal or supernatural, because it's not within our parameters yet to explain. I think quantum physics is getting there. I think we're going to find some explanations within quantum physics eventually. But it's just, there's certain things that we just cannot explain. It's the universe's secret. It's the universe as a whole. There's a very interesting theory out there. You guys has everybody on the panel heard of the Black Knight? Do you know what the Black Knight is?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard of 'em.
All right. So for the listeners that are listening right now, the Black Knight is an object that has been photographed in low Earth orbit that looks like a rock. Actually, it reminds me of Oumuamua, the asteroid, and actually Atlas, the new asteroid that they found, which actually looks a lot like Oumuamua. But they believe it is a satellite of some sort because of the way it moves around in its orbit, and the fact that it seems to have these interesting little functions. Now, if you talk to NASA, their official statement on it is that, no, this is imaginary, doesn't exist. But who trusts NASA? Because I don't. NASA's nothing but a large black budget to do a lot of things that have nothing to do with space. But I've read in several places now that the Black Knight is actually basically like a prison gate to keep souls trapped on this planet, and to make us continually recycle, to relearn. Like, basically,
Wow.
the expression prison planet comes to mind.
You
I
have
thought
hit,
that's what the moon
Well,
was.
actually,
I thought the moon was this
you were on a
great big
show with
soul
me
trap.
before on this, Nancy, when we talked about the Black Knight with John Titor II.
Yep.
And
Yep.
John said,
we have the
yeah, it
second
is.
story about the
Yeah.
Black Knight too, though.
And John said, oh, yeah, it is extraterrestrial, but it doesn't come from this galaxy. And
Is there
no
not
other
supposed to be
extraterrestrials will mess with it because they don't want to deal with those folks.
Is there not supposed to be something to that, though? The
There
moon
is.
being a soul trap.
It is, and yes, that's part of Andrew Bellagio and Obama's story. But Andrew Bellagio and Obama has both been to the moon. Now, one of the things I didn't share with you about the story I gave you is my perspective was from that of the moon looking at the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I said that there was a window there, it wasn't a window, it was perception. But my perception, my point of view was from the moon to the Earth at that time. Now, whether or not the Black Knight, there's a secondary story, which is one of the very old stories. It talks about the chaotic ones. I don't think that that's connected the way that it would be connected if it was the other. That was part of the Soul Trap. I don't believe that the Black Knight is. However, it is from one of the babysitters, from the original creators, and it is a ET phone home, not go home, phone home. And this has been set here in order to monitor us. When you travel across the galaxy, thousands of years can happen. So this is a way of monitoring us in real time, gravitationally, because any gravitational force in the universe you can detect immediately from anywhere. There is no time. That's part of quantum mechanics, and we have to start accepting the quantum mechanics rules of operation for this in order to be able to actually fit. But the Black Knight was suggested, that was 6-7 years ago, that was actually shot down by American forces. And this has caused, afterwards, there was a bomb on the moon that we just had to put a bomb on the moon, and it didn't have to be any kind of bomb, and had to be nuke. And it had to go there. And if you've seen any of photographs, there was an evacuation of that spot by a bunch of little dots and bright lights that left that spot just before impact, and it was all visible. On the photos of the control room, they actually had a photograph laying in front of one of the astronomers as they were watching this on the thing. And in that, it had a circled area, and it was an image of a building on the moon.
Yes.
So these things are real. Now, here's the other thing about the Black Knight, and I want to give it some accordance here. She says it's like a rock. It is. It's an L-shaped rock, however. And this rock, if you think about it, I mean, does it make any sense for us to put a bunch of Sprite cans together and call it a rocket and call it safe? It doesn't. Okay. However, what if we grabbed one of these passing asteroids, we drill a hole in it, put a couple of chairs in there, throw a door on it, and then shove a rocket up its ass? We've got something.
I was going to say, how about we just drill a hole in Barack Obama and Eric Holder's head?
They have enough hot air.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is we have something that can survive micro asteroids and everything else. It survived for 10,000 years out there without being destroyed. And now we're protected by an asteroid 360 degrees all the way around us with a door on it. It makes more sense. So when they're saying,
because they think that, I believe Nikola Tesla believed it was the Black Knight that was in communication with him.
Exactly, yeah. And it was.
Exactly, that's something right there that I do want to bring up later on in the next episode. Most likely, that is going to be the next topic that we have.
You're welcome.
I always thought that the
story full stop.
I actually always thought that the Black Knight looked like one of the giant moai on Easter Island. If you really look at it,
it does a little bit.
And if they could get them to walk, why couldn't they get them to be in orbit? You know.
Well, if you look at Atlas, though, if you turn Atlas vertical, it's almost identical. It's just much larger. And on Oahu, same thing. If you change the position of it, went vertical with it, it's almost identical as far as shape goes. I mean, I've actually compared them side by side, and I'm like, this is freaking crazy, because here's this object sitting up in orbit. They won't talk about it. I mean, good luck getting somebody at NASA to talk to you about the Black Knight. It's not going to happen. And now we have all these things going on with the moon. Like, if y'all have noticed, if you're skywatchers like I am, that what was it? Asteroid 2024 or something, CL 2024, I think it is now supposed to hit the moon. Like, hit it, and it's a big asteroid. And I'm thinking, yeah, what better way to cover like a nuclear event on the moon than to say an asteroid's going to hit it? Oh, gee, look, we didn't see this coming. Oh, wait, now it's coming. And, I just feel like we're being set up for so many different storylines. Blue beam, Roger, you mentioned that earlier. Blue beam is something I am vastly knowledgeable on.
Yep.
And it's something that scares the piss out of me right now because I see it all in action. Already, I can see them leading up to a Blue Beam event.
Okay,
And
think of
they're
this with past lives and that. When this all kicks off, do you think someone's going to have some past life regression flashbacks of when Atlantis and Mu were destroyed? All right, because it'll be something similar.
Yep. Now, just like just as raw signals in the cerebellum need refinement through cycles of learning, reincarnation fragments, if they exist, would need shaping through the body and a lifetime. A newborn might carry the raw imprint of fear, desire, or talent, but without context, it remains vague, like a signal without circuitry. Now, over time, life provides the shaping context, turning fragments into recognizable traits, compulsions, or affinities. Some children studied in reincarnation researches, like those conducted by Ian Stevenson, seem to have raw memories, names, faces, places that only later get pieced into coherent patterns. Now, these early flashes resemble unrefined raw signals, burst without integration. Think of it like this. Raw signals are the sparks, but they need mossy fibers, the structure, rhythm, and order to turn into meaningful patterns. In spiritual terms, these sparks could be karmic fragments, bits of memories from beyond one life, awaiting the architecture of a new nervous system to shape them into usable form. So keep that in mind whenever you guys think about that, because I know you guys are getting into a lot of this, but those are things that are really, really important, because like I said, I don't separate the physical, the emotional, or the spiritual. I think that they all work together. Without our brains being able to function and having the ability to freaking do these things, reincarnation would never happen. Just like most things that are spiritual, okay? I don't feel that anything spiritual could happen to the human body unless they actually, it was actually capable of being done within the brain, without it being something that the brain could actually perform, it wouldn't happen. I really do believe that. I believe that you have to take the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional, psychological into consideration, So, with that being said, we are coming up on the end of the show. So, as a wrap up, I'd like for you guys to ponder these questions. Are climbing fibers architects of change, and mossy fibers keepers of order within our brain? Are ancient myths merely subconscious descriptions of these structures? And if reincarnation exists, is it a recycling of souls or a universal law of ascent? Do regression memories reflect only our psychological, or do they point to a larger consciousness woven into the cosmos? And finally, if the brain's architecture mirrors cosmic architecture, are we fragments of a greater intelligence climbing towards integration? We may walk with mossy roots or spiral upwards on climbing threads, but in the end, we are all woven into the same unseen pattern. So, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and I would like to ask that everybody on the panel go through and give their socials so that everybody who is listening or watching has a chance of maybe figuring out how to contact you. Now, doing that, I would like to start out with first. If he would like to go first last, and we can move on from him to Jason.
Yeah,
First.
yeah. You can find me
Hold on,
at.
Jason.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's first.
You can find me a lot of times on the Robert Morningstar show in the mornings and stuff like that.
Okay. Now it's your turn, Jason.
Alrighty, you can find me at the D program Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. EST. That's MC_dirty work. That's also at BitChute and YouTube. MC without the underscore dirty work at Rumble.
All right. Now, Mark Edworthy, give it your go, bud.
Yeah, I'm at minds.com under the username Medworthy.
All right. Now we go to Raphael. Go for it.
He's on mute. Rafi, you're on mute.
He's on mute.
Sorry, you can find my socials and that of Nancy on thevixensvault.com on the About Us page. And you can catch us every Wednesday at 9 p.m.
All right. You want to give yours, Vicky?
Okay, you can find me on Telegram at For Such a Time as This, and on X at Booklander62.
Okay, and now Nancy, we're letting you do yours last because you are the last person to give your socials. There you go.
Okay, guys, y'all can find me at thevixensvault.com. As Raphael mentioned earlier, all the socials are attached. You can find me on Telegram as Wiccan Vixen. I'm in multiple chats on Telegram. I administrate for multiple chats there. You can also find me on X as Rider on the Storm.
All right. Now, I'd like to thank you, or give thanks to our guests, panelists, and listeners. Like I said before, tonight we explored pathways of transformation and reincarnation. Consider how these mysteries touch on our consciousness, our spiritual life, and mental well-being as well. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, comment in the comment section, and give us some feedback, or just say hello. And with that, I would like to say again, thanks for listening. And this is where Mark is supposed to end the show.
We're going to work on those transitions, Roger.
Okay.
Great show. We had a great show tonight. Thanks, everybody. And once I take in, get the audio broadcaster down, I will switch us over to the next one so we do an after show if you're all interested. David said that the reason why he couldn't come in is there was too many people in the room. So he couldn't join. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, Woody, you've got to consider that when you're inviting people in the numbers.
I'm a wild man, dude. I do things rowdy like that. I'm
Yeah,
a rowdy dog.
People in there. And
the only person rowdier than me is MC Dirty Work in the house.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So, I mean, the thing is it's like this is the hot topic, okay? And that's what I've been trying to say. And I knew because like Nancy, for one, she is freaking, her and Vicky and me have been talking about this for how long now, Nancy? What, months?
Yeah, months. Because it started EMF when I was talking about EMF and dropping information, and that just lit you on fire. And off you went. Yep.
Yeah. And it's just like, man, I started doing research on that back whenever I was getting sick of the freaking AI or LLMs. I don't want to make you mad, Mark, because I know you hate whenever I say AIs, but right when I was getting sick of all that, man, that's whenever you started talking about all of this stuff, man, and it was just like, bam, we just started having conversations about it, and then Vicky got all crazy and wild with her.
And as I mentioned in the chat earlier this evening, we sort of alluded to these subjects on our Wednesday shows.
Okay, I am going to cut a couple of platforms now that the